Good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday, January the 15th, 2020. It is currently 8:08 p.m. Central Time. Well, this has been a long day of live broadcast, podcast episodes, mic test. It's just been a day filled with a lot of busyness, a lot of work, a lot of effort. I'm hoping that this last attempt here, this last live broadcast for the day will prove to be beneficial and fruitful. But I just wanted to turn on the mic, go live here on sermon.net. First, ask for people's help. If you hear us on sermon.net, please. I know you're busy. I know you have a lot of things to do, but if you could take just a few minutes and email me at newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. Say, yes, I heard you on sermon.net. I heard you via the app. I found you this way. Tell me how you found us, how you heard us. If you use sermon.net on a regular basis, we're still trying to figure out the sermon.net world. Our messages are everywhere. We have thousands of listens all over the place, but we are new to sermon.net and we don't know if we're going to stick around. And so we're trying to figure out if it's worthwhile. There's a lot of cool features with sermon.net that I really like. And I would like to really make it beneficial. But we need, obviously you got to reach a certain level of downloads and streams and listens or it's not worth it. Right now we're so focused on Spreaker, the Spreaker app, and that's where everybody listens to us, YouTube, SoundCloud, lots of other places. But we won't get into all of that. But if you're listening to us on sermon.net, we would really appreciate just a quick email telling me that. All right. I just wanted to hit the go live button and tell you about, what day was it? I think it was yesterday. Yes, yesterday morning at 8 a.m. I had to go to the VA clinic. Now, I go to the VA clinic because I'm 100% disabled because of something that happened when I was in the military related to anthrax. I'm not going to go through the whole story. Almost died. Now I have a seizure disorder as a result to it. I'm not going to go through everything, every little detail. Have a seizure disorder, and I was medically discharged from the military, declared 100% disabled. So I go to the VA for a lot of my medical care. And I had my yearly eye exam. And of course, when you go to your annual eye exam, you know what's going to happen. They're going to push your head back and they take that little thing and drop some drops in your eye. They're going to place some drops in your eye to dilate your eyes. And if you've ever had your eyes dilated, you know that after they're dilated, you can see, but you can't see, right? Everything's blurry. If you're in the sun, you're like, man, okay, I'm going to go blind. You don't want to look at anything bright. Everything, if you try to read, it's like, what? Everything is blurry. It's confusing. If you look down at your iPad or your phone, you're like, wait, what does that say? You can kind of watch TV, but everything's blurry for, I don't know, a couple of hours. It lasted a lot longer this time than it normally did. It lasted most of the day. I couldn't read. I couldn't do anything. My eyes were dilated. You all know what that's like if you've ever had it done. And as the day was progressing and I just kept struggling with trying to see, it made me stop and just kind of think of something from a theological perspective. I mean, this is the Theology Central podcast where we look at the world from a theological perspective. And I started thinking about life. How many times in life something is going on, and when you're looking at it, it's all confusing. You don't understand. You're confused. It doesn't make any sense. And it's like you're looking at the world. You're looking at your circumstances with your eyes dilated. And it doesn't make any sense. A lot of things happen to me in my life. Some things happen because of the actions of other people towards me. Some things were just the normal circumstances of life. Sometimes it was because my own foolishness, sin, failure, mistakes, stupidity, whatever. But no matter, whenever the situations occur, I may be able to determine who's responsible, why they're responsible. Sometimes I don't even know what's going on. But no matter what, when you look at it, it looks horrible. It looks bad. It looks confusing. You don't know nothing sometimes makes any sense, and you don't know what to do. You don't know what the next step can be. And that's a part of life. As we go through this life, we can't see everything, especially when you take what is God doing? Why is God allowing this? Why did God allow this? Did he cause this? What is he doing? What good can come from this? Why did this happen? And wait, I made a bad decision. Can God do anything about my bad decision? And you're left with a lot of questions, because guess what? We're not all knowing. We don't have all the answers. And I know sometimes Christians and pastors like to pretend they have all the answers, but we don't. No one on this planet has all the answers. We don't see correctly. In fact, it made me think of this passage. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 12. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as also I am known. We read it from a couple of other translations. 1 Corinthians 13:12. For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. The New Living Translation. Now we see things imperfectly, like puzzling reflections in a mirror. But then we will see everything with perfect clarity. All that I know now is partial and incomplete. But then I will know everything completely, just as God now knows me completely. 1 Corinthians 13:12. Now, I don't have any big spiritual lesson to give you. I'm not going to say anything right now that's going to be like a massive revelation to you, but I just want to remind you that we're all, as Christians, we are walking in this world. We don't see everything clearly. Things don't make a lot of sense sometimes. And I know sometimes things can be confusing and life makes no sense and you don't know what's going to happen. And that is a part of our human existence. We see things like a weird reflection in the mirror. And we're like, what is that? That's all out of shape and weird, and I can't quite make it out. And we have to realize that we don't know what we will. We only know in part. I don't care who you are. You don't know everything. And I know sometimes, you have Christians, well-meaning Christians, who come along and think that they can explain it all to you, but they can't. They can try to tell you what God is going to do or what God is not going to do, but they don't know, because no one knows. We are all limited in what we know. We're not omniscient. We're not eternal. We're not all-knowing. We're not omnipresent. We're not all powerful. We're weak. We're limited. And we have to acknowledge that as we go through our Christian life. And that's a part of the struggle. That's why we walk by faith and not by sight, because we don't see perfectly or clearly. God's ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. And it can be frustrating at times. But we have to embrace it as being a part of the journey. And we have to help each other along. You can't see clearly. I can't see clearly. You don't know everything. I don't know everything. So let's take this Christian journey together, stumbling through it together, falling over each other, falling down, getting back up, and continuing to walk, knowing that there will come a day that we will understand, that we will understand. Everything will be made clear. But that's not now. And sometimes we want God to give us the answers now. If you think about Job, God is the one who mentions Job to Satan. God sets everything up. He allows Satan to destroy. I mean, there's death, there's destruction. Job suffers physically, mental anguish, emotional anguish, horrible suffering. And when you get to the end, Job never is given the answer why. He's never given the answer. He's so confused. And God basically says, who are you to ask me any questions? That story ends in a very realistic way. Job is never given the answer. Sometimes we're like, well, look, but God blessed him this many times. And so everything's wonderful. Well, no, he still lost his children. He still went through all of that. And he was never given any answers. I think Job would have taken answers more than he would have taken being blessed with more things. But sometimes what we want the most is answers. We want an explanation. I can go through my life. Why was I raised in a home where there was so much abuse and chaos and confusion? Don't know. Other kids weren't. Why did I go through a lot of the things I went through in school? Don't know. Other kids didn't. Why did my mom die when I was young? Don't know. Many people's parents still alive. So, they're 70 and 80, still alive. Don't know. Both of my parents are dead. Don't know. Why did I make some of the decisions I make? Don't know. Can't go back. Can't fix them. Did I make the right decision? Did some of those decisions that may have felt wrong turn out to be the right decisions? Why did I make those mistakes? Well, I'm responsible, but what is God going to do through the midst of all of this? I could just go on and you could do the same thing. We have to acknowledge that's the part of the human existence. At least we have one thing that the world doesn't. They have the same confusion. They don't know everything. They don't know. They're all confused. They're blind. And when it comes to trying to understand what's happening, they're just as confused. But listen, there's the difference. They don't know. They're just as confused. They see things just as dimly. But for us, we don't understand, but we believe that there is an eternal God who is holy, who is just, who is all-powerful, who is present in all places at all times. There is a God who loves us, who gave his son to die for us, to save us. And there is a God who is working all things out for his good pleasure, for his will, for his purpose. It may not be what we want, but there is a reason for everything. There is a purpose. We may never understand it and we may not see it until we're in his presence, but we can walk by faith that there is something bigger than us, outside of us, that is somehow making this all work, and that it all is headed somewhere. Now that sometimes leads to lots of philosophical struggles. It does, because, well, if God is working all things to his good pleasure and his will, why is there so much pain and suffering? And why is all these things happen in this world? Yes, it leads to lots of questions, but at least we can trust that there's something, there's some reason, there's some purpose. We're not just living a life of just random chance and whatever happens, and there's no meaning and there's no purpose in it. And then we're born, we live, we die, and we go back to the ground, and that's the end. And there was never any true meaning, any true purpose, anything beyond our mere existence. We have a faith that there is a God, and he is sovereign, working all things to his good pleasure, his purpose, his will. And at one day it will all be revealed to us. We will know, we will understand, we will see clearly. There's at least a hope for that. But for now, we have to embrace that we don't know. And we have to learn to appreciate that and appreciate the journey of faith, because it is a journey of faith. It's not a journey of sight. It's a journey of trust, not a journey of understanding. All right, I'll stop there. Just a few thoughts on this Wednesday evening. After a long day of recording and doing live broadcasts, remember, if you're listening to us on sermon.net, we would love to hear from you. Love to get your feedback. For those of you who are listening elsewhere, I would challenge you, go to the Apple App Store, the Google Play Store, download the sermon.net app. You can look for us, Theology Central. And if you can find us, then you can follow us on the sermon.net app. And you may find the sermon.net app is a really cool app to have in addition to our wherever else you listen to us, because there's a lot of sermons from a lot of people. I don't necessarily agree with all the theology nor even recommend it, but there's plenty there to listen to give you things to think about from a spiritual perspective. So sermon.net, try it out. See if you like that. We'll be uploading things and doing live broadcasts via sermon.net as well at times. And you can tell me which one you like better, sermon.net or Spreaker. Let me know. I'll be more than happy to get your feedback. All right, I'll stop right there. Everyone have a great night. And you can email me at newsif@yahoo.com. God bless.